Hi, and welcome to the Global Conscious Health Summit. So happy that you're here. I have Nadia Khalil on, and I'm very excited. We just started talking before we were filming. It's like, no, we need to put this on film. So here we go. But I'll tell you a little bit about her. She's written 3 books, The Origins of Truth, Original Love, and Little Wing. And she hosts a weekly radio show called I Dig Your Soul podcast. And published several personal growth online courses and is recognized as a renowned international speaker. So we are going to be talking about all kinds of stuff, and we had to make sure this gets recorded. So welcome, Nadia.
Thank you for having me, Jody. This has been, I was telling you, and I'll tell you again because I'll never get tired of saying it, how big a challenge it was to face myself, face that I did not know what my body was doing, nor could I control it.
Yeah.
And then really out of nowhere, just searching for a way to find a way to help, like take away whatever was happening to my stomach and my legs. I'm like, wait a minute, my clothes don't fit. I don't feel as good. I feel sluggish, and having to go on that journey. So to have something like this available where we could share these ideas, it's like the best hack ever, right? It's like, hey, you'll take something and run with it. And we don't need much, but we do need encouragement.
Yeah, totally. So tell us about that journey. Tell us how you got here.
So I had a Chuck E. Cheese moment. It was, I was at Chuck E. Cheese at a birthday party for one of my friend's younger kids.
Okay.
So I go by myself. My kids are way too old to go to a party at that point, especially at Chuck E. Cheese with me. And so I'm sitting in this room of 9 tables across. And in those 9 tables across are 9 different birthday parties. So instead of having like one individual, Chucky comes out, does his thing, and then everyone comes out with the cakes. And there's like blue cakes and pink cakes and green cakes and yellow cakes. And I'm looking and I go, oh my God, we were taught to eat this way.
Yeah.
And then I thought, but wait a minute. If I was taught to eat this way, I can unlearn that.
Yeah.
It was like that moment. And I was already struggling where I was like, good for a week, not good for a week, went for the bread, left the bread. I was just all over the place, but I was trying. I just didn't have like a template or something that worked well enough for me to stick to it. But I was looking for that magic answer. But that was the beginning of it. And then I found a book in the bargain section back in Barnes and Noble. And I don't know, they have them now, they're sporadic. They've closed most of them, but they always had a table with sale books on it. And I'd always go hit that table. And there was a book called 3 Squares about how we invented the American meal. And then again, that light bulb moment. We invented this. We decided we eat our biggest meal at night. But if we invented that, I can reinvent it. Mm-hmm. So now I'm relearning, reinventing. My brain is starting to feel encouraged that it's up here, and up here takes care of this, right? Yeah. Because, you want to feel like yourself, and emotionally we struggle with that all our lives until we get to a place where we can self-accept and we can say, hey, you know what? No matter where you're at today, you got here and you made it.
Yeah.
And I remember turning 50 and feeling like, wow, I've accomplished something. I've been here for like 50 years, and it just was like so big in my mind. But these are the things I remember, which were like the 3 successful moments amongst thousands of unsuccessful moments. So I hung on to the successful thoughts. I was like, don't let go of these thoughts, because every time I think these thoughts, I feel hope.
Yeah.
And I want to try again. Like I wake up and I, don't feel it's a struggle. But the one thing I did that has been the most successful on all fronts, physically, mentally, spiritually, and just let worry out the door. So there is a way. There is a way. I wake up early because I do a radio show at 5:30 in the morning, my time. But it can get all the way to Australia by early evening. So I'm good. I've covered every country, right? But what happened is I realized that I eat breakfast before my show. Otherwise, I'd probably be yawning through my show. So I eat breakfast and then I have a snack like midday. And then I would eat my biggest meal at lunch. And I would eat between 1 and 2. And then I just stopped eating for the rest of the day. And at first, it was hard because I would get hungry, but I'd say, well, just drink water and see what happens. I didn't put myself in such a tight box that I couldn't wiggle around and feel like I still was myself, but it was like fighting with myself. It was like, yeah, I know you want this, but it's not good for you, and these conversations in my head. So I would go that way. And after a while, I just did it naturally. I did relearn. I did rewrite.
Yeah.
And so I was getting made fun of when we would go out and my kids would go, oh, so you're not going to eat dinner? And I said, no, I'll eat dinner with you guys. It's just what I'll have will be different. If we all go out, I'm not going to sit there and protest the meal and get all that attention. I just wanted to kind of be left alone because everyone starts to encourage you to break your system, which doesn't help. Like, oh, you don't eat bread, or, oh, you don't do this. I just don't talk about it because that does discourage me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to fight for my decisions. I just want to have them. I just want them to work for me. I want to feel good.
Yeah.
So what happened is I realized that the last thing we do is exercise. Not the first thing. And then we go all day eating and then we wonder why we are not getting rid of whatever it is that's different in our bodies, that bloaty feeling, that feeling like our pants are too tight, and then feeling like we need to wear elastic waistbands because otherwise we're not comfortable. And, there's a whole support system for that. Oh yeah, I struggle with that too. And then we bond. But I didn't want to bond on that.
Right.
I wanted to bond on strength.
Yeah.
Not on my weaknesses, because then we're like, what do my kids call it? And I never heard this term, but they call it like trauma bonding.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I never heard that term. And when I heard, I thought, oh my God, that's so cool. How did you guys figure that out? But they're younger, faster, and they're in a whole different world. And we're from a different generation where we're not 1 minute, boom, 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 and flying through a phone or something like that. I mean, we actually went out and played. So it's not that it's better, it's just so different, so different mentally, even as adults, even as I look at them as adults. So I learned to keep quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did what I did. And I'd order soup or I'd order like a light salad and I would enjoy it. And I'd be like, once in a while, nothing is going to kill us. And I wasn't breaking my thing. I would tell myself, if I do this 5 days a week, I'm ahead. I know when my body isn't working. Because getting rid of that bloat meant changing every habit I had. Yeah. And the first one was Coke. If I had a meal and Coke was not involved, it was like I didn't eat. I was like, not a happy person. And I thought, but I don't really drink that much of it. And then I justified it. Well, it's my only vice. But what I found out was those few swigs that I was taking had so much sugar in them that they perverted my tongue, literally. And then I was always searching on the days that I drank it.
Yeah.
it was like I couldn't get away from overthinking food. Like, oh, I really feel like having this. Oh, I really feel like having that. And then I realized the days that I didn't drink it, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So then I said, well, how can I stop myself? Because I really love it. I mean, take me to a Mexican restaurant, I have to order a Coke because that sweet and salty and the chips and this and that, it just was a whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
But what I said was, if I don't want to eat it, I cannot buy it.
Yeah, right.
Because that's where we make the
What a
decision.
concept, right? You know,
I know, but we don't think that. We
right.
buy it, we bring it home, and then we're like a predator, you know, and it's the prey and we're walking around it. Yes, no, yes, no. And then, you know, it's almost like it's dragging us to the kitchen. And then we open that thing and we're like, ah, see, that wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually is. It is.
Yeah.
So not only do you change your food and have to educate yourself on food, but you have to allow your lifestyle to accommodate that change, because it's definitely two-pronged. You cannot like make that change and live the way you were, because the way I lived was centered around a lot of food type events.
Yeah.
Let's meet for lunch, let's meet for dinner, let's meet for breakfast.
Yep.
Now I just say, let's meet for lunch because I know I'm going to eat my biggest meal. But then once you do that, you start entering a new world of understanding food. Instead of living to eat, you start eating to live, because now you're eating less. So you need nutritionally dense food. I remember when I heard that, I was like, again, another cool term. Because I write. So when I hear things like that, I'm like, what made you think of that? You know, I want to know.
Uh-huh.
Because the mind, people's minds, I write about souls. I write about self-love. And I'm fascinated by us.
Yeah.
We're funny as we are fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, even thinking of something like, well, just don't buy it. And someone's like, oh, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you know,
The concept. Yeah.
happened to me too. I get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I could give up Coke and my long baguette that I ate with that olive oil and garlic and whatever else I put in that olive oil and had for lunch, and then was stuffed for the rest of the day with the bread, if I could give that up, I personally feel like I could do anything.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about say if somebody does have something, and boy, I wanted to say too, it's like when you don't drink, that's another, you don't drink, you don't drink. Like people they they hound you, "Oh, have a drink." It's like so ingrained in people to push you when you do something that's not of the
It's
soul
like
norm.
they think you're on a cliff
Yeah.
because you said that. And so they just want to like push you off and say,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
it's fun and it's this. And I'm like, oh no. But yeah, right?
Yeah. So good. So stick to your guns. You know, whoever's watching this, keep sticking to your guns, because just do what you want. It's not about them. It's about you.
It's yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead if you want to expand.
Oh
on
no,
that.
I'm just always, you know, the way we do things just fascinates me. But I can't imagine how I went from that person to when I see somebody doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing, but they're still doing it. I just say a little prayer. And I say, God, I hope that one day you wake up and you make a decision to take better care.
Yeah.
Because I did wake up that one day, so I know it's possible. And I couldn't do it before that, so I know that's possible.
Yeah.
And I also know it took me 2 years to get off of drinking Coke. It didn't happen in a day. The only difference was I didn't stop trying. But it took me 2 years.
Okay.
You know, and it did get less and less and less until I just stopped missing it. But there was a period of time I stopped for like 2 or 3 months and then I had one. And I go, oh my God, this tastes horrible. What did I see in it?
Right.
But I still took the next sip. And then there I went. And then after I left the restaurant with my friends, I went home and I'm like, God, I really feel like having ice cream. And I'm like, searching. It's like my radar's out for anything
Yeah.
that was extreme in sugar or salt.
Yeah. Right. It's kind of an addiction in a way. Like I've
It
gotten.
is an addiction. And I had to look at it that way.
Yeah.
That, I keep saying I'm not an addictive personality, but yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Not at least when it comes to this, even though these were things that are acceptable to be addicted to, but I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
Look at how hard it is for me to get off of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I say a prayer because I know, I know it's not easy, but I also know it's possible. And I also know there's like the other side of that to now where I see it and I go, oh God, I can't even imagine eating that again. I can't imagine like having a sandwich with that really thick bread ever again. I would feel like I wouldn't be able to move.
Yeah.
So it's it's such a learning tree, right?
Yeah. And you think of Coke too, and have you seen where they put the screw in there and then it eats it away? Have
I've seen things like that, or it
you
cleaning a
imagine?
car battery.
Oh God. Yeah. Bad.
Yeah, it is. And now I've gotten down to years later because now I'm 9 years past that, all of those things. Um, I only drink water now.
Yeah. Me too.
And I can't even imagine drinking anything else. And water to me was the most boring drink. If I took more than 2 sips, I'm like, I can't drink water. But that's
And get
because,
used to the fizz too in the Coke.
oh my gosh, all of it, all of it. It was like I would put the ice and pour the Coke on it and stick the straw in. And it was a whole, and people made fun of me. My own kids didn't drink soda, and I had the fridge filled with it.
It's
So
crazy.
there you have it.
Yeah.
You
So let's
know,
talk, yeah. So let's talk about the soul and how people operate. And I'm fascinated with that too. So, what, I mean, like, okay, so habits can start, right? Like, what do you think creates habits, or how does, I don't know if you can like, let's talk on this topic and just kind of,
well, it goes back to our families, wherever we were living with the people we were living with and the habits we all had.
yeah,
Almost every single one of us can go back to happy occasions centering around gatherings when
mhm,
we were all together. Didn't matter what we did,
yeah,
just mattered that we were all together because in those moments, everything felt right. All of the trials, all of the challenges, all of the problems, when we'd see everyone together, we would still feel so much love. We had that in us. As kids, we would run up to people and they'd all pick us up and love us and feed us and take care of us and, feeling that safety.
mhm,
And a lot of us associated that with meals, with like big events, graduations, weddings, whatever it was. And then as we are growing, and let's say we went to one of our aunts and we said, I want to be an actress. And the aunt looks at you and goes, You don't want to be an actress. You want to be a dentist because being a dentist, you'll have a really great life. You'll make good money. It's guaranteed, and they start talking you away. And you're probably 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. And then you start questioning your own dreams. You may not make it to 14 and still want to be an actress. But the important thing is being nurtured for your ideas. And not to the point where we're making silly saps out of ourselves. No. But just like, hey, so what do you like about that? And it just may be that their favorite person happens to be an actress they're familiar with.
mhm,
So they want to be like that. But we start shaping and taking away that part of us that's creative, that's self empowered, that thinks on its own. Because now we're like, oh my God, I'll never talk to Aunt Sue about that because she doesn't really think that's cool. But I still like to do it, but maybe I just won't tell anyone so no one else tells me it's wrong. Because now we don't want to be wrong. We want them to love us, that feeling that we get when we're all together.
Mm-hmm.
But as we have more and more of those interactions, or we hear someone talking about someone else in the family and we think, well, what if they do that about me? And it starts to erode our trust. Those are the things that actually affect us older. Because we think, well, these are the closest people to us, and look at how they're talking about each other. And they think my dreams are stupid. Mm-hmm. And so we start to self-protect, and we aren't so eager to share our ideas with anybody. And then we make a lot of mistakes because we don't trust anyone anymore. And unless we have a good friend that we can run these things by, and we can actually develop our thought through talking about them in a healthy way, we just want to show everybody we're right, or that we're not dumb, or that we're smart, or that we could do this and we don't need anybody's help. Yeah. And so when we say as adults, we don't know how we got here, that's how we got here. It wasn't like someone came and just smacked us upside the head. They were little moments that we experience that start to shake the rug under our feet, like the tremors, and we keep those things. But I also found out we keep really good things, like moments when somebody really helped us and they didn't have to, or said they understand. Yeah. So then I ask, well, what do you focus on? Do you focus on showing the world you can do what it is you want to do without them? Or do you focus on the people who believed in you the way you believed in you? Because we all ultimately do believe in ourselves, or we wouldn't wake up every day. Yeah. But sometimes we don't see it that way. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, same thing, another day. And if we do that, we just took 24 hours that we've been given to do whatever it is we want in those 24 hours away from our own selves. Yeah. So then there's this whole concept of self-love, which everybody seems to know that term now. But what does that mean? How do you love yourself? Do you kiss the mirror in the morning? I mean, what is self-love? So I dig into that. My show, I Dig Your Soul. Because I do. I'm with the shovel going in there and saying, hey, this is in here. Get it out. You don't need this. And why are you carrying this? And it's another way of losing weight. Only this time it's emotional weight. There is an emotional maintenance, just like there's a physical maintenance. But because we don't think of our emotions as something to work with, that we're just the way we are, that's exactly what we're going to get, is that we're just the way we are. Mm-hmm. But yet, the minute you start saying, why do I keep saying that? That has not served me well. Why am I scared of what serves me well? What don't I think I deserve? I'm worth being like those people that I say, oh, they must know everything. Look at how great they look. Well, what do I look like to other people? What do they say? They're probably saying that about me. And I'm like, oh, no, I'll tear them down in a minute. The minute they tell me I'm doing fine, I'll be like, oh, no, looks are deceiving. Or if someone complimented me, I used to say things about myself I shouldn't. You know, that whole story about, oh, that old thing. But the minute we say, oh, no, I got this, and we tell them how much we bought it for $3 on sale, so-and-so, you know, we start taking away. And I made myself stop talking that way. And I forced myself to just say thank you and shut up.
Yeah. Yep. Receive, accept.
You don't know. how hard that was. That was as bad as getting rid of Coke.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But we have been taught that if we're happy about ourselves, that something's wrong with us. Who are you to be so happy? And you're like, I don't know. I'm happy. And then you're scared to show happy.
Yeah.
So I always dig in and say, all you need to know about yourself is your purest intent. For everything you want to do, answer why. Why do I want to take care of my body? Well, we don't get to that question until, why do I want to lose weight? Why do I want to look better? Why do I want these clothes to fit me? Why do I want to dress this way? What do I think I'll get for it? And as you go through that list and you start digging, you will find that, oh, wait a minute, I really do want to be healthy. Yes, I am getting older, but these habits aren't only for me. Someone who's 20 needs these habits.
Yeah.
Someone who's 30 needs these habits. My daughter's 31. And we talk about it all the time. And I said, whatever you do now will be your habit.
Yes.
How do we break habits? We don't, we just change our lives. And then we force ourselves to do it until it becomes a habit. And then that new habit will replace the old one. But if we just break a habit and don't replace it with anything, we're going to go back to that old habit just because we don't have anything better to put in that slot.
So give us an example of that.
Oh, this was a good example. So when I first got married years ago, I was 23 and I was cleaning the floor in the apartment. We had a 1-bedroom apartment and I'm cleaning the floor. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, I don't have a problem to focus on. And I was like, wow, this is what it feels like not to have a problem. And it was a moment again of clarity. But you know what happened? My mind went like around looking for a problem to fill the problem slot with. So ever since then, I'm like, do you have a problem slot that you keep putting in a new problem the minute one, because then you're never done. It's always after this is done and after that's done. And you just live your life chasing a ball down a hill.
Yeah.
And then that day I go, I don't have a problem to put in the problem slot. And then I go, well, I don't have to. That theme has followed me all of my life. The Chuck E. Cheese moment, the Coke moments. That one by far was my hardest though. I didn't realize how our strength is so fragile, It's like, you're so strong here and then a Coke is going to take me down.
Yeah.
Or me looking for another problem to hurt myself, because who else am I going to hurt? I'm the one with me all day long. No one else is with me all day. And I'm not with anyone else all day. These moments of strength that I had are what I replaced the problem slot with. I don't have the problem slot anymore. It doesn't mean I don't have challenges or problems, but how I deal with them and how I look at them, I don't let them strip me of everything good I've learned until it's over. I'm worth more than that at this point. Geez. I'm here, I'm this age. I probably have 20, 30 years left on the good side. How do I want to do that?
Yeah.
I want to enjoy this world that I'm living in. I can't do it when I'm gone. And after this last year of COVID and all the arguments over an illness didn't change the illness. It just brought out the arguers and the truth. And it made things a lot more clear for us. We've become more clear about ourselves coming out of this.
Yeah, which is probably why all this happened. So we can like sit back and you know, be with ourselves. I see more kids playing outside now. I've never seen like for years, and like coming back into who we really are. And there's so many good sides of it. That's how I look at it too, you know.
It's beautiful. It's like we are reawakening.
Yes.
The good, the bad, the indifferent, and the ugly,
Yeah,
are all so much easier to see.
yeah, yes.
So because of that, our choices feel more clear. There's things that we did before that we don't care about anymore.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. My son was telling me that, and this was, he's autistic, and he is 28 years old. And when I raised him, I never told him he was autistic. I treated him, even though his behaviors were different, I still treated him the way I treated his sister. I mean, tailored to him.
That's great.
But I went back to school and took early childhood development classes to teach him, to build bridges of transition from his world to ours, because I thought, if I die, I have to know he can do this stuff. Who else is going to know all the little things?
Yeah.
That's not fair to him. And in those classes, I rewrote my childhood. I rewrote it in an objective way, not just my thoughts about it, but it made me think, well, why did my parents do that? Well, they're people too. They're like me. Just because my body had a baby, it didn't make me understand parenting. It just made me love my children.
Yeah.
But how do I not repeat certain patterns? How do I give them freedoms I didn't think I had without just throwing the towel in and letting them be a free-for-all? So I came up with this idea, and I said, my deal with my kids is I want to raise two independent human beings who can find a way to enjoy their lives. And that was my only goal. If I would say, oh, don't worry, let me do that, I'd be like, oh no, try it. Do it.
Yeah.
Go out, see what happens. Because then when we make up our own minds, we tend to listen better, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, honestly, you know, the teenage years for both of them in different ways, just like we probably were for our own parents, and probably in the future, any parent who has a 13, 14, 17, 18-year-old where they're just on that brink of getting their own freedom and threatening you with it too, right? Like when I'm 18 and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not okay. But then I thought, and I said this to my daughter, I said, you know, you don't have to tell me everything. But I only told her that because I didn't know if I could handle it.
Yeah.
But I did do one thing. I opened the doors of my home to all the friends.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know, I was by then a single parent, and I had nothing because I had to work and take care of my kids. My son was autistic. I had to do, you know, it just, my days were filled. The only free time I had is when everyone went to sleep and I could stay awake. So then what happened is just living that life and them watching me not give up on them. That was their best teacher. Our example is probably the biggest parenting tool we have.
Yeah. Yep. It sure is.
It really is, right? I mean, I could sit here and say I did this and I did that, but really how I lived my life taught them how to live life. And that was what came out of it. My son was he's a baseball player. He loved baseball. And everyone's like, he's autistic, he's never going to go anywhere with it. He wanted to go pro.
Cool.
Oh, I have to tell you, this young boy, because I didn't tell him. And I took him. He got on the travel ball. He made the high school team. He made the college team. And he got signed with the Kansas City Royals.
Wow.
And he was the first autistic boy, man. And he's always my boy.
Yeah, right.
To be signed to a professional baseball team in the MLB.
What a great mom you are. That's awesome.
But it was all just following their dream. I had nothing to do with it. If he didn't want to play, I could drive him all day.
Yeah.
But because I knew he meant it,
Yeah.
I learned from him what it meant to mean it
Yeah.
to that level. So before he got signed on the team, they had like it's so interesting what they do, but a psychologist calls you before you sign on the dotted line. And they interviewed me and they interviewed my son. We were both in the same room getting interviewed, but we were getting interviewed by phone. So we're on speaker, and they asked my son, "Who do you admire most in life?" And he said, "My mom."
Hmm.
And I thought, what did I do? Because usually I'm in his background. And he said, because when I grew up, I found out she was struggling when she was raising us. But I never knew that when I was a kid, because every time she walked in that door, she was smiling.
Hmm.
And when I heard him say that, I knew in my heart my job was done. Yeah. That he understood that adversity doesn't crush you.
Yeah.
It doesn't crush any of us. But because he's autistic, he's very focused. So the things he learns and keeps are only things that have been proven to his brain, because their brain is very efficient. They don't have conceptual thought. They think in numbers. So if he sees a successful event once and then twice, and then it becomes cemented. But if he also sees an unsuccessful event, then he also knows, okay, that's not for me. And he just pushes it aside and never looks at it again. That's how his brain works.
So that was so significant for him.
It was. And I didn't even know I walked in the door.
Yeah,
with this
right. That's awesome.
But the fact that he remembered that's what he took from his childhood.
Yeah.
Also reinforced that our behavior,
yeah,
is their teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
And my behavior is also my own teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, these things, these lessons, they don't come easy. They come through tears, they come through rejection, they come through some successes here and there that keep us going.
Yeah.
And some things that we think, oh my God, how am I going to wake up the next day?
Yeah.
Times I had to borrow money to pay bills. And I'd pray to God at night before I'd sleep that one day I could pay people back.
Yeah.
And I honestly had no clue how or from where.
Yeah, right.
I was doing my best. I was working. But it wasn't enough. And I had a job. Like I was working in like corporate America, but I have an autistic son and programs for him were expensive. Yeah. I was taking loans out $5,000 at a time just to put him in this program and that program. But the more important thing was I did everything I could. I don't look back and say, oh, I wish I just didn't let that time go by. I didn't let anything come between me and the goal I had for them to be independent human beings. And I had to take that lesson unto myself. That, hey, I could do this. I just have to figure out how. And another funny part is, and I say this all the time, if I'm not laughing, I'm going to be crying. And I'd rather be laughing
Yep.
at myself.
Yep.
Like, hey, look at you. You can't even make your bills, happen. But you'll figure out how.
Yeah. Yeah. Attitude.
Figure out how.
Yeah.
You're not going to die.
Yep.
No matter what happens, you're going to make it. You
Yep.
always have. And this is what you look like making it.
Yeah.
Because then I could give myself the fuel to make that day happen.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Nadia. This was great. Thank you so much.
What a conversation.
Yeah.
But thank you for just even asking me to come by and
Yeah.
talk about these things, because they do make a difference in our lives, and they work, and
Yeah.
we work.
Yeah.
We work.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. So you have a free gift for?
I do have a free gift.
Okay.
There is a class I have called the Self-Love Inner Quest.
Okay.
It's an 8-part series. We sell it online on my website. But if you are watching this and you decide to take that course, I will know that you're serious about wanting to dig into your own soul. And so I'm offering it for free. Just write me at Nadia at NadiaKhalil.com. That's NadiaKhalil.com. And I'll give you the code to take that class for free. Because I do believe in us. We are worth so much more than we ever knew.
Yeah.
And it's just time for us to find out.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I hope I see people who want to take it, because it really is, it's a good challenge.
Yeah.
It's
Good.
a good challenge.
Great.
But thank you. Thank you for even letting me offer it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you in the next interview. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.